Nimra, are you ready to present?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, please share your presentation.
Yes, ma'am, just a second. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today, my topic of presentation is upon a song called Pakistan Ke Liye, and it is about the representation of women stereotypes and issues of honor in relation to the theme of nationalism within songs. Okay, next slide, ma'am. Firstly, to introduce the song was released in October 2019. It was part of a movie called Kangna, and it was endorsed or funded by the ISPR and directed by Khalilur Rahman Kamar. The song created a lot of controversy. Next slide. The song created a lot of controversy as it was basically in light for sexualizing a woman explicitly from holding an Indian nationality. It's important to look at the aesthetics within the song over here, as the woman dressed up in the song is very much alike the item songs that we see in Indian shows or television or films. She's wearing this small blouse with like a lehenga, which is not common within the Pakistani context of item songs. As if within Pakistan, if there are item songs, then they utilize the Punjabi jatti, and they usually either wear like a lungi or a Punjabi lacha, or dressed up in a more Pakistani context. So we can somehow, when the song itself starts, we can see that the very representation of this woman has been drafted to represent a more Indian woman. So this brings us to the question: why does a woman have to be represented as, particularly being part of another nationality, to represent a woman who is within our context supposedly dishonored, as we do not represent honored women in item songs within our Pakistani films and media. So we use the song as a case study to then look at how foreign women are represented in Pakistani movies within a nationalistic concept. I would like you all to please read the given lines in red yourself, as those are some of the lyrics of the song, and I will further base my discussion on that. So as you could see, the song lyrics stated very clearly that the singer is talking about how after she went to Pakistan or migrated there, the people in India said that they somehow lost something. Now, this reference is important because the very theme of the movie is based on an India-Pakistan conflict. The song basically focuses on the very typical stereotype of the dirty dancer. However, so within the song, we see the we see the dancer having the sort of mannerisms or the sort of movements that accentuate her, that present her with an active sexuality, and she does not have the same repressed emotions such as the more societally accepted Chui Moi does. So the interesting fact is that this image is contradictory to the other female Pakistani characters shown in the same movie, as they were mostly clad in shalwar kameez, or if anything, they were mostly covered within the movie. And within given the context of the India-Pakistan conflict within the movie, and within our, as we know the very history of it, we can invoke Yasmin Javani's theory over here, where women are used to invoke honor and dishonor on based off of states and nations. Yasmin Javani's theory focuses on the fact that the on how women and their bodies have been previously used within media to invoke either themes of colonialism or themes of conquering, and so given that theory we can invoke that theory within our within this song to say that the India-Pakistan conflict is sort of represented through the very or conquering of the Indian nation or dishonoring of the Indian nation is represented through dishonoring a woman belonging to that nation. So,
Okay, very, very nice connection.
uh,
You can
so
you can read the lyrics because they are part of the text.
ओके ओके सो लड़की भटिंडा की जवान गई रे इंडिया में बोले साडी जान गई रे नाउ what I would like to point out is how these lyrics were simply to invoke visual pleasure through sexualization of the character did not have any sort of story behind her. The character was not part of the narrative in any way to further move the story forward, and it was simply an item number that in fact many critics claimed had no utilization to the movie. However, the woman is the fact that this very item number gives her this context and implies this explicit context of her being from an Indian nationality, her particularly belonging to Bhatinda, and the reference to her javani, or what we call youth, or what we call reaching your prime sexual age, is why we can say that this woman is being objectified and she is being sexualized to create visual pleasure. I could not include certain pictures, however, the song involves her with sultry eyes. She moves her chest a lot. There are very focused scenes on the movements of her waist and generally on her body. There is one scene where she's essentially touching her skin, and a lot of that is to invoke visual pleasure, but it is also to entice possibly the male audience within our heteronormative society. So this character was clearly for aesthetic purposes, and there was another very important thing. One of our articles talked of censorship, and interestingly, none of the parts of this very explicit item song were cut out or censored, which was surprising as we had seen, as this is considered as sexually explicit dance, which is particularly censored, has been in the past. However, one could also say that the content was rather state sponsored and hence was able to escape the strict censor board restrictions that are usually implemented on non-state sponsored content. For example, you have Zindagi Tamasha, which showed less explicit content like that. However, it was still censored in many ways. Next slide. सो बनके पतंग सैया डोर में रही पहली जो रात थी लाहौर में रही. Now the sexualized woman is particularly shown as having no agency of her own. Within the song she is demanding the male's attention, she is wanting to have sexual relationships with the men, and interestingly she is offering herself practically on a platter to them. There is no way that she has referred to any boundaries or restrictions of her own. As you can see, the song basically with various references to migration, which is that she comes from India to Pakistan, from Bhatinda to Lahore, and this migration allows her or implement some sort of sexual activity which she was able to do once she came, or within the Pakistani setting, which is a very surprising implication, because why use migration of women to imply sexual activity? This is a rather insensitive connotation, as we are very aware of how migrational violence has previously existed as well within, particularly in the 1947 war, how much women were particularly violated due to migration. So this context is disturbing in itself. to say the least. So any form of sexual activity which is considered taboo within our own society as well. So it's even more surprising why a foreign woman who is comes to this state and this nation and this land and then suddenly becomes sexual. So are we trying to, within our context, when we view women as sinful and dishonored, so are we trying to say that foreign women are also sinful and dishonored, hence they can come to our pure land and act more sexually? So within our society, the behavior and the control of behavior of any woman and her sexuality is directly linked to retaining patriarchal values and the structure. So there are some. This is where I would like to point out how her while it may seem that she is somehow being very liberated while being sexually active, but at the same time she is in the control of men. Her sexuality is within the control of men. So this is where I would like to point out point out how Sadaf Ahmed's theory of sexualized objects is evoked. Banke patang sanya door mein nahi rahe. The woman is referring to herself as a patang and a door. So now, what the analysis that I drew up was that a patang is a more freedom-inducing, or it is an object that is capable of flying, and flying is mostly associated with freedom. While on the same hand, a string is a contradictory thing as it is very fragile. So and it also strings are have been previously in the past used in Pakistani films and movies to invoke control or to invoke lack of agency. And so the song somehow uses these two objects to represent the woman's desire, to represent the woman's agency, and it shows the sort of disdain that is towards her freedom and to ascertain the fragility of the female character as she accepts male obedience and dominance. Um, Next slide, ma'am. So, to conclude, we can say that the representation of the particular female dancer within this song is within a stereotypical dirty dancer stereotype, is leads to dishonoring of her nation through dishonoring and sexualization of the women of that nation, given the sort of politics that prevails, particularly the conflict of India Pakistan that still prevails till date. So the utilization of foreign women in light of ideology of nationalism leads to a sort of different representation of foreign women that as different than as we see of Pakistani women, who are most of the time very honored, very clothed. They do not engage in sexual activity of any kind, and they would also a more nationalistic representation involves them giving up their life and any form of agency they have within themselves, as we have seen in other Pakistani dramas, such as this one including Sanam Baloch, where where she was playing a woman who sacrificed her whole life for the independence of Pakistan. And if you have ever seen the drama, you can see the contradictory ways in which two women from different countries are shown. So, in conclusion, the submission of the Indian female character hence becomes the glory of the Pakistani audience that is viewing the song or that is within the song themselves. Okay, that's the end of it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Really nice. G, any comments? Class?
I
Any
really like
comments?
I
G.
really like this presentation because I feel like this was the first presentation that focused on a particular song from a film, which is very unique on its own. And the whole idea behind the song was really strong. And I love how you deconstructed the lyrics and you made it come to a point where you showed what it actually was behind all the sexualization and the glorification. So I really liked it.
Right. And anyone else? Nimra, this presentation was excellent. I think it was connected to at least eight or nine different class readings, and I think that whatever you read in different papers, you very strongly connected to all of them. And the best part was that you also connected to the paper on migration, though you were focusing on 1947 migration and dishonoring of women around the time of partition. I am just, let me find out if I just want to check something. I would like to share it with you. There is this novel, Bano. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of this novel?
Miss probably child.
Okay, so I think you can probably find its PDF online as well. I think so. It says Bano by Razia Bhatt, right? And if you write PDF, you will probably find the PDF of the novel. I am. It's not exactly relevant to what you are saying, but partly. But many of you were talking about honor or theme of honor. So I came across a very interesting questions while reading one of the student papers last week. And that question was, because this novel Bano by Razia Bhatt actually says that when so many women were dishonored at the time of partition, and some of them were brought to Pakistan alive. There were rehabilitation centers all over Pakistan, and Bano by Razia Bhatt actually quotes such a rehabilitation center in Rawalpindi. Because when Banu arrives there, and she has been raped many times before she finally reaches Pakistan, and she has an infant as well, and the authorities from the rehabilitation center call the male protagonist, and when he reaches there to bring Bano to his home, because she's also his cousin. The women at the rehabilitation center keep on telling him that it wasn't her fault that she was raped, right? So I had because I was reading the student paper on honor killing, so I was wondering who was who was the first woman to be killed because of honor issues after 1947 partition, because it looks like that women who were brought to rehabilitation center were in a state that people sympathized with them, and people actually or Pakistan, authorities, or in other way Pakistan government was trying to encourage people to accept raped women after partition. So that's the reason I had this question in my mind: when did first honor killing incident and happen after 1947 partition, and where it happened? Because that definitely took away everything that partition had actually geared. So that somehow that state was also connected with this idea. So for a very short time, probably the concepts about honor were slightly changed or negotiated in a manner. So I'm just curious about it. But what I really liked about your presentation was the connection of so many different things, or so many different concepts to what we have been reading and discussing in class. Right. So the article on migration of women to Netherlands actually talked about liberated women in Netherlands, and the original women, local women were liberated, and migrant women were not liberated. And it was talking about forced marriages of migrant women, because families wanted these women to marry cousins or someone else from back home, or even if they were finding their partners in Netherlands, they had to be from their own societies. This is an excellent presentation. I just want you to look into capitalizations when you are writing your final paper, because I think for example, you have capitalized conflict in India Pakistan conflict here. So capitalizing India and Pakistan is fine, but I would suggest that keep C of conflict small, right? And for use just normal grammatical rules for these things. And I think in another slide you had capitalized V of visual and C of censorship. So I would say that you don't need to capitalize these things. I really like the idea of connecting this paper to nationalism, because you're talking about stereotypes and you're talking about sexuality and relevant issues, and the connection with Yasmin Javani's article was also very interesting. So I think it's generally very good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I will keep that in mind next time.
Okay, one last thing. Wherever you write these lyrics in your paper, I haven't looked at your paper so far. I would suggest add translation of the lyric in square brackets, right? You know what I mean, because there are round brackets and there are other types of brackets. Just opt for the last one, square brackets, for adding translation in your paper. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Good.
Ji, okay.
Good. Okay. So who would like to start?
Yes, I can start.
Okay, sounds very nice, Komal.
So basically, the question I have picked on is the representations, stereotypes, and issues of honor. And the basically the thesis statement that I've tried to make is honor is soul. It's quite poetic. Can I speak,
Yes, sure.
please? So basically, honor is soul is my thesis statement, or इसका connection I will make in the conclusion. Okay, why am I saying this? And the thesis argument that I have in the next slide is that honor is a delusion, and that honor is a part of social conditioning that you use in order to tame women. And for the purpose of proceeding with my argument and my statement, I have selected three movies, um, and they are Padmavat, Pinjar, and Varna. So in Padmavat, I've selected this movie because the movie was basically glorifying Johar, which is a practice of committing suicide if your husband dies in during the war. And just to save your honor, nobody can touch you other than your husband. So the women of the palace were supposed to jump into fire. कि इनको कोई touch नहीं कर सकेगा. And the problem which I found worth discussing was the way Deepika is portrayed in the last scene. If you want to go to the last scene. Ma'am, the point that I was reaching at was that the way they have portrayed Deepika walking into fire is problem. हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि you can't. जैसे I told you yesterday as well कि Sanjay Leela Bhansali said कि I was only showing what happened. It wasn't any intention of glorifying it. But there is glorification with the background music that has been used, with how beautiful does she look while walking into fire. So that is, a very problematic representation of honor, which I was concluding at. The second movie is Pinjar. It's a movie based on partition of India, and it is based on Amrita Pritam's novel of the same name. यहाँ पे if you can थोड़ा सा zoom in, we can look at the dialogue that this mother is speaking. तो ये होता है that this woman, Paro, she's been abducted by a Muslim man for some familiar reasons. इंडियन हिंदू मुसलमान में जो भी इश्यूज उनके चल रहे थे उसकी वजह से वो अबडक्शन हो जाती है पूरो की एंड समहाउ शी इज एबल टू एस्केप. लेकिन जब वो वापस आती है तो शी द मदर टेल्स हर कि आई विश यू वर डेड एट बर्थ, जस्ट गो अवे फ्रॉम हियर. तो ये भी ऑनर को सेव करने के लिए कि once you have common notion that once a woman has spent a night outside her house home, she is not pure anymore. और इसके ऊपर एक a very beautiful song was also written, which I would like to थोड़ा सा quote कि what were the lyrics. ये अमृता प्रीतम ने लिखा था कि बेटे को देती महल अटरिया, बेटी को देती परदेस रे. That you give palaces to your sons, but you give the other countries, foreign cities or countries to your daughters. आप उनको equality से treat नहीं करती हैं. So I have included Varna as a movie which was an attempt to look at rape and honor through different angles. It was a Pakistani movie, but it could not do well because I think the content was too bold to be shared with our society as yet. Simply मुझे लगता है कि पाकिस्तानी society अभी ready नहीं थी इसके लिए, because Amira Khan in the movie is being raped. Lekin when she wants to report it, the family says you don't have to do that, and then she calls her the rapist that I have fallen in love with you and I would like to meet you. And then they meet and she deliberately has a sexual intercourse just to prove that he has raped me. So she unusual in Pakistan, in my discuss how this movie has been a great, not great, a good attempt at shifting the look at rape. So if we can go to the next.
So can you slightly explain what happens when she calls rapist that she has fallen in love with him?
Then she says कि I have fallen in love with you, and he says कि you should meet me, and they have this dinner and they talk, and उसके बाद वो उसको सुबह drop करता है घर में, उसके घर पे, and then she goes to the clinic that I have been raped. So basically वो second time वो उसको trap करके अपनी मर्जी से she has a sexual intercourse, but she portrays it जो उसके साथ पहली दफा हुआ था. So this was a new technique that I think a new way, a new solution basically, which was used in the movie, which is why I think this movie was not liked either or even understood by most of the people. और एक scene इस movie में ये भी है which I forgot to mention, a court scene है जहाँ पर the guy is being questioned, जब उसके ऊपर allegation लगा देती है तो judge कहता है कि do you have any proof of what you are saying? So the guy, the rapist, says that I have a proof that she came to me herself, and I have a habit of making pornographic videos. I can show you that she came to me with her consent. and all we had was वहाँ पर उसका जो शादी केस हम लोग हार गए, हमें नहीं चाहिए इंसाफ, एंड देन ही कमिट सुसाइड. तो एक बेसिक तरीका जो हर मूवी होता है कि ऑनर जो है वो पूरी फैमिली औरत का जो अपने ऊपर ले लेती है, वो इसके अंदर है. लेकिन
आपकी
एंड पे
आवाज नहीं
कंक्लूजन में मूवी एक शिफ्ट जरूर हमें देती है जो कि नया है, अभी तक नहीं देखा था हमने मीडिया में, पाकिस्तानी सोसाइटी. So the conclusion that I was KY. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
जी जी
Miss,
आई
can you
कैन.
hear me now?
जी जी जी.
Miss, can you hear me? Okay.
हाँ जी आई कैन.
So the conclusion that I was, yes, ma'am. So the conclusion I was going to reach at is that honor is a lie told to women in order to tame them. And why do I call honor is within the soul? Is that I have written a line in conclusion in my paper which says that if honor ever exists, it exists in individual form. If honor has any place, it has a place within a human being's soul. Rape does not determine honor of any woman. Sexual orientation does not determine honor of any human being. Marrying somebody without parents' consent does not determine honor. Deciding not to embrace motherhood does not determine honor at all. So basically, I was trying to say that honor को टच नहीं किया जा सकता. अगर टच नहीं किया जा सकता और अगर ऑनर कहीं पर होता है तो वो विद इन द सोल हो सकता है, जो कि किसी पब्लिक डिस्कोर्स या पब्लिक डिस्कशन या फैमिली के ऊपर नहीं आना चाहिए. फैमिली और दी somebody other than the individual has no right to decide anyone's honor. Mentioned about the references. Miss, can you hear me?
जी जी आई कैन. थोड़ी सी डिस्टरबेंस है बट आई कैन. जी.
Ma'am, so these are the references I have used. It's Ishmeet Nagpal, article named Padmavat is a horrifying movie and it should not have been made. We were, I think, supposed to use readings at 3 places, at least 3 quotations, quote by quote. I have used Sadaf Ahmed's article about sexualized objects and embodiment of honor, rape in Pakistani movies. So I think yes, that's it.
All right. The first one looks like a newspaper article, is it? Nagpal Ishmeet.
Miss, I'm done. If you can hear me.
Yes, can you hear me? Ji, can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, this is a page. Yes, ma'am, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I was asking the first
Yes,
one
ma'am, I
looks.
can hear you.
Ji, first one looks like a newspaper article, is it?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Komal, the first
Comments, there is a page by the name. With the name. Miss, I'm speaking. I think that.
I can hear you. I'm asking if you can hear me.
I didn't get you.
Okay, I said that the first one looks like a newspaper article. The second looks like a proper academic article, right? What about the third one?
Miss, so two of them are taken from Feminism in India. So basically, they write articles.
Okay, so are they proper
Yes.
academic articles or newspaper articles?
No, that is not a newspaper article. It's I think page on Facebook through which I got to know about their site, and they do this analysis on the content made in India, a feminist perspective.
Okay, all right. So I think you were probably referring to one of the exam instructions that you should use full quotes somewhere in your paper, right?
Yes, yes, right.
Yes, I said that because students have a tendency of typing titles of paper at the end of their paper, and it is very difficult to identify who has said what. So that is the reason I said use in-text references, because I wanted to see in-text reference within the body of the text. Okay. Uh,
Yes.
it's a nice presentation. Uh, I am, however, not sure what from Sadaf Ahmed's article, for example, you used. What did you use from hers? Because,
Miss,
for
okay,
example, I
I'll
will give.
explain.
Please do.
Okay, so the opening of my paper says that honor is a misconception and a delusional term that is inculcated through social conditioning. Honor is generally defined as self-esteem, glory, merit, prestige, respect. Out of these words, none of it is touchable. There is no objectivity in these terms, and yet women pay the price of it all their lives. So Sadaf Ahmed writes that Pakistan, like many other patriarchal societies, divides women into good and bad. The former manifest qualities like obedience, willing sacrifice of their desires for their family, domestication, and lack of independence, while the latter are believed bereft of these qualities. So that is what she says in one place.
Okay,
And there
so
is another, I have used her quotations.
just hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. So whatever you read from Sadaf Ahmed just now, whatever you read from Sadaf Ahmed's
Yes,
article just now, how is that linked to any of these
yes.
three films?
Miss, the quote that I just read is used for Varna because Myra Khan wants to um, take revenge or seek justice for what has happened to her. But the family says that don't do this. तुम हमारा इज्जत खराब करोगी. Just let it go. So this does, I mean, relate to what Mara has done in the movie. जब वो
Uh,
बोलती है कि मुझे सेक्रीफाइस नहीं करना है अपनी कोई भी चीज आपके लिए. Can you
uh,
hear me?
yes. Does she say that to her mother? कि मुझे sacrifice नहीं करना?
She says that to everyone, to her husband, to her father, everyone who stops her. वो एक और scene है जहाँ पे she is hitting her husband. I think she punched her husband because he was stopping her from doing that. And that's a very rare image to see, right? In Pakistani media.
Right.
So I
Okay.
think it does relate, of course.
Okay. So in Sadaf Ahmed's article,
And there are
right?
other two places I. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in Sadaf Ahmed's case, she says that all Pakistani movies almost kill all women who lose honor. So, does any of these three uh, any of these three films show that women die because they are about to lose honor?
Yes, ma'am. Padmavat does. Deepika Padukone commits suicide
Okay,
to save the honor.
right. So the other two actually are different from what Sadaf Ahmed is saying, right? The other two are
Miss, I think the way I use someone's article is that there are some chunks that are relating to what I am saying. I
okay.
was kind of using them as that.
All right, that is perfectly fine.
Yes, ma'am.
What people say in an article, you can agree or disagree with it, or you can notice differences and then you can talk about differences. So that is why I said that
Yes.
Sadaf was talking about death of all women who had lost honor in Pakistani
Mm.
film. So on this page, I
Yes.
see only one Pakistani film. The other two seem to be Indian, right? So it's
Yes,
perfectly
ma'am.
fine. You can take the article from anywhere and you can apply it to the concept to any of these films. So that is okay. So what about
Mm.
the third one? Any idea what that article was particularly saying? So
Ma'am, the third one, yeah.
Tanya Ja.
The third one, yes, Tanya Ja. She talks about the movie Pinjar, जो मैंने explain भी किया. Should I tell you what she says particularly?
Yes, because that is the only way of linking your image
Yes,
to
ma'am.
academic
Sure,
work. Yes.
sure. So she says the title Pinjar is connected with the idea of devaluing women and reducing them to mere objects of men's pleasure. In the second half of the movie, we see a mentally unstable woman who gets raped and impregnated. She later dies in labor and gives birth to a child who is reared by Puro. Her episode depicts that for some men, a woman's body is nothing but a pinjar, which can be used for any desired purpose. So that is what she says, and that is linking to pinjar.
Okay, that is not only linking to Pinjar, that is also linking to
Mm.
what Sadaf Ahmed said, because Sadaf Ahmed
Mm.
described exactly similar scene, because in a Pakistani movie, the woman who had lost honor died during rape. Sorry, died
Mm.
during labor. Okay, so that is another again the scene links to what Sadaf and also Jah are saying, that if a woman has lost honor, the film would normally show her dying during labor, if not earlier. So yeah, so that sounds good now. So what would you say is the method of analysis?
I mean, ma'am, in what sense?
You are analyzing films, right? So I'm asking, what would you
Yes.
say is the method of analysis, content
I
analysis?
haven't been able. Yeah, I think it
Because
was a theoretical analysis.
uh,
Um,
I just described, we call it qualitative content analysis,
okay, yes,
right? So somewhere
yes,
while you're writing your final paper, you can actually say that you have used qualitative analysis method
right,
or qualitative content analysis method to analyze the films, right? And make
yes,
sure that when you are writing your final paper, you can also say something about consensual sex or non-consensual
mm,
sex, because I think
okay,
right now, perhaps you have not looked for any literature on consensual or non-consensual sex, and
okay,
when you pick these two, Varna and Pinjar in particular, you definitely need to find something on consensual and non-consensual sex, and I'm sure there would be plenty of material on these
yes,
two,
ma'am,
right?
yes,
So
ma'am,
do use that literature as well, because in the end,
yes,
the girl in Varna is, like the original rape was rape. The original sexual misconduct was rape, but the second definitely is not rape. Uh,
yes,
So I think there is a complication there because she has complicated things. Did you say that the boy committed suicide in the end?
No, miss the father, Myra Khan's father.
Okay, so the father committed suicide and she did not get justice from court, did she?
No, she did not.
All right. Okay, so you just need to speak about all these things as well. G, any other comment about the film or presentation? All right. So one last thing, that when you are writing your final draft, make sure that your thesis statement actually uh, includes the core concept of three films, right? So if
Oh,
you're saying
yes, ma'am.
that honor is soul, you should also say that this is how the three films represent honor, right? The three films are trying to show that honor is soul for the protagonists or whatever. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Komal ji.
Welcome,
I think
welcome.
it would be fine. It was good. It just needs some theoretical perspective. All right. So who is next? J. Mariam, please.
So basically, the drama which I selected is Jeeh. Now I'm going to discuss the story of Jeeh. So it is basically a journey of a woman who fights for truth, the obstacles she faces during a struggle for justice, and how she will eventually overcome them all. Given the content we are familiar with this is indeed a storyline which I'm going to discuss now. So the scene which I chose is a 51-second clip. It's basically Pakistani drama that starts from 15 January to August 2019. She is basically a story about a woman by the name of Manat. She getting justice for her friend's attempted rape and murder by her brother-in-law. She goes against everyone to do this with the support of only of her husband. But by making every woman in the drama appear weak, and the show seems to be suggesting that if one woman seeks justice, all the other women will pay the price for this. The scene which I particularly selected, as you can see now, this is basically a girl standing by the name of Nayab. A police inspector is standing in front of her just to record her statement. The inspector asked, did you get raped? She just nodded her head, saying yes. The whole scene was shot in mid-range shots and close-up views, whereas in the whole clip, the beam sound of monitors and playing in the background at the end of the clip, the title soundtrack start, which made the audience cry. The inspector again asked, who is he? While he asks about two times, like, who is he? Who is he? Then he repeats, who? While the camera moves slowly towards her face and capture close-up view. She said, Manat se kehna Raja Bhediya hai. So, our drama industry has lately been focusing on shedding light on taboo topics, particularly child abuse and sexual assault. Cheek also deals with the shocking attempt of sexual assault on a young girl during a friend's engagement. But when she sets it apart from other dramas on this said topic, that it has thus far not showing any indication of romanticizing abusive men or presenting them as heroes. This shows gives some hope that this might be the one show that ends up punishing the culprit and holding them accountable instead of forgiving them or marrying them of the victim or another girl as punishment. So in order to conclude this, I would like to tell the thesis statement. In this paper, focus on analyzing the issues on modern women faced in society after standing against her in-laws for the sake of justice. A woman in every class always faces unsupportive behavior from an in-laws after she tries to do something which they cannot understand, how she lost everything in her life, including a mother, her unborn child, her husband, and in order to get justice for a friend. So in the end, you can see that this man standing over here is asking for forgiveness, and he's actually culprit. Basically, Ji will leave the audience with a lot of feelings about a number of social issues, particularly women empowerment. It calls on women to break the locks of silence and speak up against the injustice which is held against them. At the core of its story, it reminds us not to bow down to any kind of oppression. In a recent interview, Sabha Kamar also revealed that Sheikh is about injustice that exists in our society and the ill practice of suppressing the voices of reasons. The makers have promised to give out the message, no more silence, through this show. Earlier, they released a video featuring some of the best female actors from the industry, like Myra Khan, Sania Sayed, encouraging women in our society to speak up for themselves and not to stay mum over the damaging social norms of misogyny. That's it, Miss.
Comments, class?
I would like to add something. I watch this show quite regularly because of the topic and what it brought to our industry. But like the last few episodes really triggered me because if you've seen the last episode of this show, there's a lot of sympathy shown to the rapist, and that is something that I'm personally not okay with, and I don't think anyone would be okay with it. And the fact that everyone in the like all the audience and their comments in Instagram and all these posts that I checked of this show, all the comments were about how the rapist should have been forgiven, and no one's calling him a rapist, and that's the worst part. Everyone's like, उस बेचारे को माफ कर देना चाहिए था और वो इतना रो रहा था और I felt so bad for him and this drama is too extreme, and if he actually like he read the Quran in the end and he prayed namaz and he asked for forgiveness, तो अगर अल्लाह माफ कर सकता है तो हम क्या हैं, and like he shouldn't have been hanged and he shouldn't have been punished, and that kind of really triggered me because it's it's really I've seen Pakistani dramas do this a lot where they romanticize and glorify the whole like aspect of the rapist. In one of the shows, the rapist actually gets married to the girl that he raped because he's asking for forgiveness, and they show him really miserable and all of that. So I hate that, and I think this show did that a lot near the end. In the beginning, it was really nice. I understand. And another problem that I had this show was that Sabah Kamar's character had to go through a lot, like a lot, to get justice
Yeah,
for her friend, and
I
that
was going to say the same.
yeah, it's really pathetic. That
That it
demotivates
was
people.
terrible. It was
Yeah, she
terrible.
loses her child. She goes to the asylum because she's considered pagal, and they like literally, and her mother
Her
dies, and
husband
she doesn't
dies,
even get to
right?
see her.
And her mother dies.
Yeah, so that's like लोगों को demotivate कर रहे हो आप कि आप justice की तरफ जा ही नहीं सकते क्योंकि अगर आप जाओगे
Her
तो ये
husband is
चीजें
killed.
Yeah.
She is practically left alone.
Yeah, even her
Uh,
husband dies, no, I think, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
loses everything to win the battle. Like I
yeah.
watched
What's the
this
point?
drama with my mother,
Yeah.
and at the end, my mother said that, "क्या फायदा?"
Huh.
मतलब
She had a
वो
great and it was a polar opposite of what she had in the beginning. Her life was perfect. Like she had an
yeah
amazing husband and an amazing in-laws and all that. I don't know. There's a lot that's wrong with that show that I had a problem with. But
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
glad that you chose
it's
this show.
her stubbornness
Yeah.
is shown as a very negative thing.
Yeah.
Her, seeking justice for her friend is
Yeah.
shown as something very extreme,
Yeah.
going on extreme levels.
And everyone's
Matlab,
telling
the
her to
friend who
stop.
dies, her stepmother also says the same, that अब वो तो मर गई है, मतलब अब जो पीछे रह गए हैं वो भी मर जाएं इस उसके
Hmm.
लिए, मतलब जस्टिस उसको उसके लिए लेने के लिए. How her own father, what her own father goes through, the kind of humiliation because he is
Exactly.
seeking justice for his daughter. So, it's a good thing that now finally something came where, a drama where, the culprit is being punished. But at the end, culprit को मतलब उसके लिए भी sympathize करना है audience ने, जो
Hmm.
सच के साथ
And
खड़ा है
and
उसको
but
बदले
Anna,
में.
it's not just this show or the fact that the rapist is being like supported. I've seen this happen a lot of shows. Like the show that Khani जो आया था उस show में
Yes,
भी
I was
अभी
going to say the
recently एक
same.
नया show था उसमें भी वही था खानी वाला लड़का. I don't know the show's name. इश्कियाँ. Yeah, he
It's,
sexually
yeah.
and physically
Yeah.
harasses the girl the entire show, like emotionally blackmailing her with pictures and with their conversations. And at the end, everyone lost their like cool के ये कैसे इसको क्यों माफ नहीं किया, ये बेचारा हमेशा अकेला रह जाता है हर ड्रामे में, because he is shown to be an abuser. That's what he deserves. Like the audience doesn't get it. I think Pakistan's audience is not ready to accept like this kind of content.
No, I think that the
I
fact that how the media shows it, how the media paints it, मतलब खानी में और चीख में एंड पे इट्स शोन के फिरोज खान भी जेल में बैठ के कुरान पढ़ रहा है, और ये जो भी नाम है इसका, बिलाल समथिंग,
Hmm.
ये भी जेल में बैठ के कुरान पढ़ रहा है, एंड पे रो रहा है. तो ऑडियंस कह रही है ओ अब तो कुरान पढ़ रहे हैं ना तो मतलब अब माफ कर दो इसको।
Hmm.
और वो
Yeah, I'm
यही
sorry, I
सब।
hope I'm not cutting you off, but I totally agree with you because in real life, जो असल में if like abusers and harassers, they get a lot of this leverage. उन्हें ये
Hmm.
इतनी हद तक ये space दी जाती है to make excuses for their behavior. And there's a whole like psychological profile that they have. They're very good usually at manipulation and demanding forgiveness when they don't really genuinely feel it. And इस तरह के narratives further drive the concept कि if a person simply says कि I am sorry मुझे माफ कर दें, तो that doesn't undo the damage जो उन्होंने दूसरों की जिंदगी में like they've caused. So this is like
And
very
that is the one
detached
thing
from
I
reality.
actually, that is the one thing I actually liked about Ruswai was that उसमें उन्होंने लास्ट पॉइंट तक सिंपैथी रेपिस्ट्स के साथ नहीं होते हुए दिखाई थी। लास्ट पॉइंट तक वो एक बुरे बुरे ही थे और उन्होंने ही मतलब जो किया था और जो
But
उन्होंने
but
सारी
the thing
अटेंशन
is,
थी वो उन्होंने
now with
सर्वाइवर के साथ रखी थी।
with Ruswai, it's just that the story was about the survivor. It wasn't
Yeah,
about the rapist, right? Because the highlight was
exactly,
on that. It mostly जो बाकी rape stories or TV shows होते हैं उनमें the rapist is actually also the hero as well. Like
exactly.
he's part of the story and the narrative. Ruswai में the rapists were not part of the story, but I feel like
Exactly, and that is how it is supposed to be. When
yeah,
you're showing
exactly.
someone to be a rapist or the culprit, you're supposed to show them that way.
Hmm.
At the end, फायदा क्या पूरी स्टोरी आप ड्रैग कर रहे हो कि ऑडियंस इस चीज को गलत समझे,
No,
ऑडियंस इस चीज
my
के
my
खिलाफ
point,
खड़े हो,
my point is
एंड
that
में आप उनको
um,
उसके साथ साइड कर देते हो।
no, I feel no. My point was कि रुस्वाई में वो उसका relative नहीं था rapist जो थे मतलब usually what they do is they make the rapist a relative or a family friend and then they show his sympathy and his side of like getting better and religiously better because most of the time it is your family or it is someone from your family or some family friend or some far-fetched cousin that does do something to you so they have to make a show about that like when someone like that happens how do you
So
not do
honestly,
victim
I
blaming
believe कि it's in the hand of the makers. अब जिस तरह कबीर सिंह है जो फिल्म है, अब उसके अंदर वो उस बंदे को हीरो दिखाया हुआ है और
exactly
लोग उसको फैंसी कर रहे हैं और वो
oh my
एक्चुअली
god
कर क्या रहा है। अगर आप उसकी
exactly
हरकतें देख रहे हो तो वो बेसिकली करता क्या है।
oh my god I hate that film
So
so
I don't
much
know, most of you are not in the course film theory and criticism. Yesterday Komal gave a presentation on that topic, and it is practically how he treats the girl, how he manipulates her, how he enforces himself upon her, how he humiliates her, and then at the end of the day he's the hero and he's basically the lead actor and
yeah
the
yeah
उसी के नाम पे फिल्म बनी हुई है और ये फिल्म एक और लैंग्वेज में पहले बनी है अर्जुन रेड्डी
exactly
आई डोंट नो व्हाट द नेम ऑफ द फिल्म वाज। मतलब
Tamil
ये
movie
इतना इस कैरेक्टर को और इस उसके एक्शंस को इतना ज्यादा जस्टिफाई और फैंसी किया है कि पहले ये फिल्म किसी और लैंग्वेज में बनती है फिर द बॉलीवुड इज लाइक ओके फाइन नाउ वी आर गोना मेक इट एज वेल और फिर वो अपने जो लीड है वो उस लैंग्वेज में तमिल सिनेमा जो है उनका वो भी काफी अच्छा जाता है तो उसमें भी काफी उनका कोई पॉपुलर हीरो है जिसने इस फिल्म को किया है
hmm,
एंड देन इट वाज शाहिद कपूर
hmm,
and during all the question and answers later on with the media about the film everyone is justifying मीडिया पूछता है मतलब वो लोग कहते हैं कि you're slapping the girl you're doing all this and then
hmm,
you're the hero and we said that
hmm.
there's no love until or unless you're allowed to beat the shit out of the other
Yeah,
person. I don't
the
understand.
director actually said कि this is a sign of love or
Yeah, so
this is
it's
some
it's
this is
on
a
the maker.
way
I think it's on the director how he's gonna paint a character.
yeah mm,
Yeah, that's what I believe.
yeah
ज़्यादा लंबा हो गया।
yeah we should
So,
shut up now
sorry, okay.
All right. I think good discussion and good comparison with other plays also. I just wanted to check if attendance slot has
मैम
reappeared. It.
कोमल ने हाथ खड़ा किया हुआ है.
Ji Komal,
Miss,
Ji Komal, what do you want to add? Ji.
इतनी देर हो गई है मुझे अब याद नहीं आ रहा
तो बोल
लेकिन
ना.
हाँ बोल
She,
देती मतलब.
इतनी इंटेलिजेंट कॉन्वर्सेशन में मैं क्या बोलूं
Cute.
लेकिन आई वाज जस्ट गोइंग टू से कि यार ये रेपिस्ट नहीं था बेचारा सॉरी बेचारा नहीं है ये मर्डरर है ये रेपिस्ट नहीं है
Yeah.
तो ये
Sorry.
थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि ये रेपिस्ट नहीं है बेचारा
कौन
नहीं है आई एम सॉरी आई टेक दैट बैक
excuse me, Miss.
Ji, Ji.
कौन रेपिस्ट नहीं है.
Miss, can
ये
I
जो
share?
है वजी इसका नाम था कैरेक्टर
Uh, okay, somebody was trying to say something.
नहीं यार
Ji.
रेपिस्ट होता है वो ये वाला
Yes,
इसी
yes,
एक्टर की बात
Miss.
करी
I
ना
was
जो
saying.
स्क्रीन पे है.
नहीं ही इज नॉट अ रेपिस्ट ही इज अ सेक्सुअल हरासर वो जब उसको थप्पड़ मारती है तो वो पिन नीचे पहन देता है लड़की को रेप नहीं करता रेप का
नहीं
तो
नहीं नहीं वो
नहीं
उसको रेप करता है. वो
नहीं करता.
रेप करता है वो.
नहीं रेप
वो एंड
रेप का
पे
उसमें
वही
भी
दिखाते हैं
सीन
कि जब वो पुलिस ऑफिसर उससे पूछता है कि डिड ही रेप यू. वो मतलब रेप सीन उन्होंने दिखाया नहीं है. जाहिर है पाकिस्तानी फैमिली ड्रामा दिखा रहे हैं वो. लेकिन वो दिखाते हैं
यार
कि
ना मुझे याद
रेप
है इसमें रेप
एंड ही
सीन
थ्रोस
नहीं है सी मतलब
हर रूफ.
इसका तो आइडिया नहीं है जितना मुझे याद है पता नहीं वी कैन चेक ऑलवेज
नहीं ये इस ड्रामे का तो दिखाते हैं. पता नहीं आई डोंट नो व्हाट अदर थिंग बिकॉज क्योंकि वो पुलिस ऑफिसर उससे पहला सवाल ही ये पूछता है कि डिड ही इसने आपके साथ ज्यादती की है. वो मतलब
He
कहती है
tried to.
हाँ. और कहते हैं कौन था. तो वो आगे से कहती है कि मेरी फ्रेंड को देना कि वो राजा भेड़िया निकला जो भी बोला.
लेकिन वो अगर तुम सीन याद करो कि वो जब सबा कमर को कन्फ्रंट करता है कि मैंने क्या किया उसके साथ तब वो
हाँ
बिल्कुल बताता है ए टू जी बताता है कि मैंने क्या किया तो वो कहते हैं उसने थप्पड़ जब मारे तब मैंने उसको नीचे फेंका मुझे कभी
हाँ.
किसी लड़की ने ना नहीं बोला तो मुझसे बर्दाश्त नहीं हुआ तो उसने मुझे थप्पड़ मार दिया तो बिल्कुल भी इसका जिक्र नहीं था मेरे ख्याल से
Okay. That sounds like, you know, I think it kept on re-emerging today. लड़की ने मुझे कभी ना नहीं कहा कभी किसी लड़की ने ना नहीं कहा एंड आई थिंक देयर वाज अनदर कॉन्सेप्ट के वरना की जो हीरोइन है शी गोज एंड टेल्स हिम कि आई हैव फॉलन इन लव विद यू so actually falling in love with rapist is critical even if she was cheating him because there are concepts. For instance, some people think that one can enjoy rape, though I believe it cannot be enjoyed. But Varna's concept of falling in love with the rapist probably comes from similar kind of concepts. So one concept originates from the other. I think that that is another thing that needs perhaps checking because in many ways violence is presented as something that women can enjoy or women can fall in love with. I think that is very critical and that needs to be studied as well. Okay, thank you. Any what kind of literature did you review, Mariam, for writing this paper? Mariam? I don't know why it is showing mute and you are not muted. Can you hear me? Also, I think some of you included your thesis statement on one of the last slides. I would suggest that when you are writing your final papers, mention your objective and thesis statement or question at the start of the paper. And by the end of your paper, you can prove your point or you can say that it wasn't proved. Okay. All right. So Mariam has to stop sharing her screen also, so we can ask someone else to share screen. Who wants to present next? Mariam, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, miss. Sorry, miss.
जी जी.
Yes, miss. What were you saying?
हाँ, मैंने आपसे दो सवाल पूछे, एक ही पूछा बेसिकली. एक तो ये पूछा कि आपने व्हाट काइंड ऑफ लिटरेचर यू रिव्यूड फॉर राइटिंग दिस पेपर. दूसरा सिर्फ सजेशन थी कि नेक्स्ट टाइम यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग थीसिस स्टेटमेंट शुड कम सूनर, not on one of the last slides. Okay, on the last
All,
slide you can actually tell if it was right or wrong. जी.
all right, miss. All right.
जी. तो I just want to understand what kind of literature you reviewed for writing this paper.
Miss, so basically it was just like overall drama की research मैंने की थी और साथ जो मेन आइडियाज थे उन्हीं को एक 51 सेकंड का क्लिप यूज करके उन्हीं को जो है वो सम अप करके ये 8 स्लाइड्स जो है वो मैंने कंक्लूड की थी.
Okay. For writing your final paper, do find literature, because without the literature, it will not look very strong without the literature. So literature is very important. Whatever you are writing here can be connected to theory, right? So also this part, I think it's interesting that you said that many people try to say forgive men if they are reading Quran, right? So Mere Paas Tum Ho also showed Mehwish reading Quran and Wazifa and all these things in some of the last shows. So I think it's very interesting that dramas are actually trying to show that
But she was hated till the end.
you
But
know,
she was hated
you never
till the
know.
last point.
Amna, you never know. You'll have to study.
Ma'am,
You'll have to study.
the audience, I think most of the audience, how they responded to everything, I did not watch a single episode of the drama. And मतलब मे सारा ड्रामा मीम्स के थ्रू, पोस्ट्स के थ्रू इंटरनेट पे पड़ा हुआ था. मतलब फेसबुक पे आप रोज खोलते थे, आपको पता चल जाता था कि क्या हो रहा है. तो लास्ट एपिसोड तक लोग रो रहे हैं कि दानिश मर गया, कर्सिंग मरियम, और पता नहीं क्या कुछ
Oh
बोल
my
रहे हैं.
God.
और
On that, since you mentioned that, I'd like to say, ma'am, the difference between a man and a woman is so clear that a man could do something as horrid as rape someone, and he'd still, like, people would forgive him immediately if he picks up the Quran and starts reciting. But a woman, all she did was cheat. I mean, I know that's a big deal, but like compared to rape, it isn't. And she cheated, and people still were not able to forgive her because she was a woman, I guess, even though she read the
Yeah.
Quran.
Miss, also the very concept of forgiveness is entirely seen through a male's lens. Like, जो I think
Exactly.
ये बिल्कुल first class में, if you can recall, ये बात हुई थी जब आपने rape as a medium of driving the narrative की बात की थी. तो I pointed out उस time पे भी कि they never point out the later consequences of rape and how hard it is for a woman to go through it. Okay, there are so many psychological issues, PTSD, depression, anxiety, suicidal
Yeah.
tendencies, जो वाकई activate हो जाती हैं. And for a person to go through that, and the way they completely lose any sort of status in society if खुदा ना खास्ता anyone is raped. And so the concept of forgiveness from a woman's lens and what it should be नहीं होता. Usually वो एक male lens से ही forgiveness सोच रहे होते हैं, because वो उनका rape validate किए बगैर उसके consequences validate किए बगैर forgiveness मांग रहे होते हैं. And for a man it is very easy to be so detached and then ask for forgiveness. And the most a very interesting concept here is how they invoke religion to do so, which is they, a lot of them, even in dramas, they then quote religion to ask for forgiveness. For example, जो अभी आमना वगैरह ने बात किया कि वो कुरान पढ़ाना शुरू कर देते हैं एक abuser को. And like इस तरह की चीजें to show their human side rather than to show that you have to be a certain level of, you have to lose your humanity to a certain degree which is permanent to be able to rape someone.
And the
Okay.
fact that when a woman is doing the same thing, you're still hating on her. You're still making fun of, it was made fun of her. How people started making memes out of her when she said कि वजीफा करो, अपनी दोस्त को कहती है जब वो, अब मैंने मीम्स देखी हैं उसके ऊपर कि अब मैं विश ये 2 टके की औरत आखिर में वजीफे करा रही थी और बंदा मार दिया इसने, तो वो that is the narrative in it, that was painted
Yeah,
by
so
by the
the
majority.
banda maar diya thing even happens if a man takes a woman to justice. I think कि this is a very common thing कि if वो नहीं होता कि एक आदमी पे अगर आपने कोई सा इल्जाम लगाया तो आप उसकी जिंदगी खराब कर दोगे, बंदा मार दोगे.
हाँ,
So it's
बिल्कुल.
eventually the woman who's taken to task for asking for justice as well.
Yeah, that is true. I absolutely agree.
All right. Okay, very good. Uh, and I think the comparison of Cheikh and Ruswai was also good because they were treating rapists differently. Okay, who is next? Minahil, please, I think go ahead, share your screen.
So the drama I chose is Nakabzan. The plot revolves around a bold storyline of a rape survivor and how she ventures on with her life after the traumatic incident, despite society treating her poorly. So it's a story about sexual assault within the safety of one's home and the attack being carried out by a trusted family member. In this drama, a girl named Farhat is married to Amir, a perfect son-in-law. Amir is the star of Farhat's family. Amir shows interest in Farhat's younger sister Dua. Dua was about to get married, and it was her mehndi night when she was drugged and raped by Amir. Um, Dua's to be her in-laws leave the wedding believing that she ran away. Dua was unable to like process the whole thing, what had happened to her. She had flashbacks of what occurred but could not remember who the individual was as she was chloroformed and attacked from behind. The scene that I chose from the drama was from the last episode, the courtroom scene in which the lawyers argue with each other. The lawyer continued that Amir didn't just stop here and kept doing his evil work. The camera moves closer to Amir's face, who looked worried when the lawyer says that Amir kidnapped Ramsha, who is Mirab's sister. Then the camera shifts to Amir's lawyer, who stood up his chair and said that all allegations on Amir are baseless and cannot be proved. Ramsha herself came to Amir, and Ramsha loved Amir and asked him to marry him. Later, Raheel is called by the lawyer and told the judge that that night he was working late in the house and he saw Dua go to the storeroom and Amir followed her with chloroform dripped cloth and he saw Dua become unconscious and then Amir starts screaming and says that he's lying. Even when he's proven guilty, even when he is proven guilty, he says, मैं अपने गुनाह के बारे में ज़रूर बताना चाहूँगा मेरा गुनाह सिर्फ ये है कि मैंने मोहब्बत की है दुआ से. He even tries to justify his hideous act. This trauma cultivates a negative impact on Dua's mental health, who develops a strong hatred for the opposite sex. Saboor Ali plays out her role of rape survivor with pinpoint accuracy, combating the judgment and frustration. Dua had to face all the judgments and unjust by the society. That's it.
Okay. All right. So, can you repeat your overall thesis statement about this play? Because you are talking about mental health
No,
illness.
Miss, my thesis was that that the problems that girls have to face after being raped and how society actually treats them.
Okay, so that's the scenario that women face problems after being raped, and society accuses them or rejects them. So, what does the drama prove in the end? Does she get justice, or does she keep on hating the opposite sex?
She does get justice, but she ends up hating the opposite sex. Like in the end, she just doesn't like men at all.
Okay, so on the whole, drama is presenting something like women, if they get justice, they can't be normal anymore. They can't start a normal life because it seems that if she learns to hate the opposite sex, she will perhaps never have a normal life. Uh, okay, so how would you theoretically analyze this? Because this is definitely different from what Sadaf Ahmed noticed, for example, in past films. Past films showed that in most cases, women who were raped or women whose bodies were dishonored uh, died, right? So this protagonist does not die. She fights for justice, she gets justice, but she learns to hate. So there is, you have to understand then what this play is trying to do, or what is the point, what it is trying to prove. The female characters in this case, so this dishonored body actually survives, right? And how did public react to this play? Any idea? Uh, it looks like you may have read a few different articles on this one. So, say if you were picking up 10 different articles on this play, 10 different articles published in 10 different newspapers, you could probably see what different journalists were writing about the story. And you could probably analyze the narrative of 10 different journalists while reporting on this particular case, right? I'm sure that somebody was writing about this display in paper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a suggestion. If like while writing uh, on anything similar to this one in future, you could also see you could also see how different journalists or how print media is reacting to this kind of story, because that will be response of one media to the other, right? If print media is saying that this is a bad story, and perhaps it should not be shown, or if print media or journalists are supporting that this is good for voicing women's issues, because apparently this character is voicing the issues. If she's asking for justice, she's voicing the issue, right? So how journalists or print media is reacting to women's demand, or TV plays showing how women are voicing issues of honor and rape, and despite family pressure, and despite uh, this male being her brother-in-law, family family, I'm not sure if family was pressurizing or not pressurizing her, but you can actually look at it like how families are portrayed within the plays, or if the play was trying to show that families actually do not support when their daughters ask for justice. Because I think in one of the earlier presentations also somebody said that family was trying to tell the girl to stay quiet, to not ask for justice, because family would lose honor if their daughters ask for justice, right? So
And
apparently,
that was in my presentation.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying,
Understood.
that some of these plays are actually talking about demand for justice, women's demand for justice. So families are probably shown supporting their daughters when they demand justice, or if they are not supporting their daughters, they are letting them live, but they are still not supporting that they should voice for justice. So it's a
Sorry
new.
to cut you off again. Even in Cheek, when Sabah Kamar is trying to fight for her friend, her mother consistently tells her not to do it because she says कि तुम अपना घर संभालो, तुम क्यों मसले में पड़ रही हो.
Right.
So yeah, you're right.
Okay. So that's why I'm saying that if they are not killing their daughters, they are still pressurizing them not to voice the issue. So the change probably lies where you allow, where you allow dishonored bodies to live, but you demand that you should not ask for justice, or you should not voice the issues. So probably one thesis statement could be like, perhaps till the end, women are pressurized not to voice their issues or not to ask for justice, or women struggle with their demand for justice. You can think about it, like how to frame your thesis statement in view of the events within the film, or within any of the plays or different plays. So you would find perhaps similar or different scenarios in some of the plays, and you can compare them uh, in terms of this kind of treatment. Gee, thank you, Minahil. Uh, just think about theoretical angle for the next one, okay? Uh,
Ma'am,
Diana.
I want you to comment on this one particular thing that I myself find very annoying. Not the fact that it's not true, it happens, but consistently, like how in these plays, what we see is it's mostly the brother-in-law doing the wrong, it's mostly the sister-in-law doing something wrong, or these relations, they are so demonized in most of the plays. Like for when I was looking for the one to do my presentation on, तो उसमें एक play था चुप रहो. इट वाज मैं उस पे नहीं किया क्योंकि वो एक मतलब पहले का हुआ था प्ले, पता नहीं कुछ साल पहले था. तो उसमें भी द ब्रदर इन लॉ इज द वन हु इज डूइंग हु इज harassing the girl and she's supposed to stay quiet about the fact that कि वो इस तरह कर रहा है, but because it's my sister's relationship I need to stay quiet. This too is about the same thing, although she doesn't remain silent on this. And there is these days this one more TV serial coming in which the sister-in-law is, you know, I don't know, she's trying to, talk to the brother-in-law in this way that she likes him and, he should divorce her sister. And, but the kuch clips the. So how they're portraying the family relations and how in that there is manipulation and there is, all this involved, and a girl is supposed to stay quiet. I want you to comment on that because I did not find such, uh, the idea of these kind of, I don't know what to how to name word it, give word to it, but in the readings when I was doing for my presentation and paper.
I think it's we need to reconsider all these things, because in our culture, joint families and extended families are extremely important. And if the plays keep on showing that joint family members or extended family members are real culprits, so I just wonder what will happen to the culture eventually, because most of the times we are talking about joint family systems and extended family systems, and right now the plays are trying to show that we find rapists within the joint family system or the extended family system. So I think in a manner these plays are actually giving a comment, negative comment uh, on the family system within our society. So perhaps that might be another dimension of looking at these things, that how these plays are portraying our family system. You know. Uh, so rapist, you're not looking for rapist outside, because rapist is inside the family, and that is also critical.
Ma'am, should I go next?
Ji Ramin, you can certainly go next.
So I chose a Pakistani drama serial for my presentation, and basically this drama was produced in 2019, and it was released on 11th March 2019, written by Momina Durraid, named as Inkar. The issue that I'm going to discuss is the sexualization, honor, and rape in Pakistani drama. So let's get started with the introduction. So from episode one, it's clear that Hajra has suffered some trauma that has made her withdraw from her hard-earned place at university, and fate makes her the focus of obsession for two men. And as her story unfolds, we find out she has been betrayed by one young man, Rehan Chaudhry, who carefully built up a relationship with her, which ended up when he tried to rape her. So, the victim of a frightening sexual assault, she escapes his clutches. Only to sink into depression, bitterly dissecting the past as she works to understand what happened to her. So, no much repeated dialogue in Hum TV's drama in Car. It's a strong rejection, refusal that the men in this story just cannot seem to understand. In Car sets out to tackle the culture of privilege, the patriarchy, and honor that too often works in the favor of rapists and murderers. So here I'm referring to a particular scene as we were told to. So here Rehan Chaudhary is saying to Hajra that you're mine, only mine, while suspense music appears in the background to show the tragedy of the scene. He further adds that you cannot be of anybody else. Hajra while stands up and turns towards him, and here full shot is taken of the scene, and he continue that when you know I know and everybody else knows you are mine, then why you are doing all this? And by saying this, he walks towards Hajra, and Hajra replies that why are you here? Go from here. So while dramatic music continues to play in the background, Rehan says, are you angry with me? And answers to himself, yes. Um, he further adds that it's your right to get angry, to fight, to abuse, to scold. You can do one more thing. You just choke me out or else murder me. You should beat me up. By saying this, he holds Hajra's hands and starts to beat on his chest, while Hajra looks so confused and scared. And he adds, going backward, for God's sake, don't leave me, don't do this to me. And here, mid range shot is taken. He says, what do I do? He hold up his ears and sits down saying, here you go. I hold my ears. I fasten my hands before you. Please forgive me. And he looks drunk and continues to harass Hajra, coming towards the desk, taking mini Caesar from there and giving it to Hajra, saying, please murder me, please do it, but say once that you love me. So Hajra, who looks completely terrified, says no. Rehan adds, you are lying, you do. She continues to say no, and so he ends up stabbing her 23 times. Actually, she was going to marry another guy in that drama at that time. So, referring to the class readings, analyzing the quote from one of the class readings that Pakistani dramas conceal women in developing roles. It says that Pakistani commercial film preserves the symbolic order by projecting the stereotypes of good and bad women. So a common Pakistani girl is expected to stay quiet and behave like a good girl because she's a modest girl and she cannot even raise her voice against rape and harassment because it will be an embarrassment to the family. So here I'm going to relate this quote with my character in the drama Hajra. After being harassed, she is told by her mother and brother to stay quiet. She also faced with this issue, which is very common in our society, that the society comes up with a solution of marriage with the rapist. And Hajra is also asked to not to file the case against Rehan Chaudhary, who is the major culprit. And this quote basically briefs the exact situation and mindset of our society, that if a girl stands against injustice, it will harm the honor and respect of the family. Also, uh, yeah. So So another reading that I want to add, it was of the article by Sadaf Ahmed, and it says that a rape culture has been understood as a complex of beliefs that encourages male sexual aggression and supports violence against women. And we can clearly link this male sexual aggression with Rehan Chaudhry. And it also says that a number of Pakistani films feature rapes and attempted rapes, supporting a rape culture that need to be problematized. So, by concluding it, I would like to say that this drama gives us a clear picture of the different standards for men and women. Men make mistakes, women commit sins. In Pakistani culture, raising awareness of this false evaluation of men and women is very difficult. Also, it shows the lack of communication between the parents and the child, as it shows that Hajra is too embarrassed to tell her parents about the harassment. So this lack of communication makes her easy prey for Rehan Chaudhry, who pretends to be her savior, and later on he assaults her. So also in this drama, we have seen how a girl keeps quitting just for her honor, izzat, and सुनने को मिलता है कि खानदान की इज्जत का सवाल है, चुप रहो, माँ बाप का नाम खराब हो जाएगा इसलिए चुप रहो. So yeah, how our society always blames a girl for every bad that happens to her. Also, there was criticism on this drama too, like what social message are the writers of the drama trying to promote? That if you stab someone 23 times, the girl Hajra, who had been wanting justice throughout the story, should just forgive and send the culprit to his mother. She actually did that. She in what word is this fair? So it was also criticized by the public that Khatija Siddiqui was stabbed 23 times outside her college by her lover, who then roamed freely till 3 years later. She finally got justice. So this story is mocking what she had been through, and it says that the one doing such acts should be forgiven. So people reacted negatively to this drama. At least majority of the people did. So yeah, that was my presentation. Thank you.
Are you linking the story to an actual case of stabbing a woman?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I was reading criticism online, so from there I actually found this.
All right. So you found this girl Khadija Siddiqui, and it actually happened to her in real life.
Miss, this
Yes.
was based on her, Khadija.
Yes, it was
Okay.
actually based on
Okay.
Khadija
So you are
Siddiqui's.
saying that play was based on a real story.
Yes.
Okay. And did she get justice in real life?
Yes, Khatija Siddiqui did after 3 years.
Uh, okay. I think. Uh, all right. So it would be nice to see the connection developing between the real story and representation, which means that finding some more details about the real story about the Khadija, what's her full name?
Yes, ma'am. I
Siddiqui.
have.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So what I
So
liked
basically,
about the presentation was not only the theoretical connection, but also details that you added about the
yes,
scene and the dialogue between the male and female, Rehan Siddiqui and
yes. Rehan Chaudhry and
sorry,
Hajra.
Rehan Chaudhary and Hajra. So I think
Yes.
it's important. You mentioned
Yes.
Hajra's name more often than Rehan Siddiqui's name.
Yes.
And if by any chance somebody missed the name the first time, uh, he would be or she would be confused, like because you keep on saying he. So I would just say that add Rehan's name in more places
Okay,
because
ma'am.
it helps in remembering. You have to remind the reader who you are talking about. I'm sure his name was mentioned at the start, and his name
Yes.
was mentioned again towards the end. But Hajra's name appeared more often, and it wasn't easy to understand that we are talking about Hajra. And because
Okay.
there were two men, it was important that we should not confuse between two male characters. Okay, so the description of scene was nice. And you mentioned dialogue, so if you are picking up dialogues, try decoding the message within the dialogue, like what is he implying, what is he is trying to say. आपने मेंशन किया चुप रहो. So silencing women is a very serious issue, and I would say that you can probably find some literature on silencing women, and it would further help in developing discussion around this play, because you have already picked up few different theories, which was nice to know. But finding more on the key concept, because you're talking about silencing Hajra and emphasis on silencing Hajra, the political forces became active because I believe Rehan Chaudhary belonged to a politically strong family, or politician's family. So you can probably look into it that, in a, if his father was an MPA, the system, instead of providing support to Hajra, some forces have geared against her, while court is still trying to give her justice. And I think there were many developing and confusing situations. Eventually, Rehan Chaudhary's mother helps Hajra, I think, because she provides her something against Rehan Chaudhary, because she thinks that's the only way of making her son better, right? So these two different two different mothers factor, I think, was also important in this play, or in behavior of Rehan Chaudhary, because his real mother is trying to free him from the talons of what she thinks, or what she thinks is the effect of the stepmother, right? So this is again, I think, within the layer is a political layer, within the layer of women getting justice. There is a political undertone to the whole play, and in this case, I think political undertone is also something that you can consider looking at. Okay. All right, thank you. Any other comment? Anyone? Ramin, it was a good presentation. Ji, Zoha,
Yes, I'm
please.
sorry. I can.
Okay, so please share yours.
So I'm going to be talking about representation of women in Pakistani dramas. Um, and I've chosen three different drama serials for this purpose. So we know that media and television in today's day and age, it has a very powerful impact on the population who watches drama serials, right? So there is like a huge population that watches drama serials, and it is a very powerful medium in which can help in spreading awareness and educating people. But the Pakistani dramas that are being on aired nowadays are showing a very negative and negative representing women in a very negative way, right? So the violence against women has been a serious issue in our country, and when many women have been victims of honor crimes. So in this presentation, I'll be talking about how is Pakistani media progressing or regressing with time, and evaluating women's representation in Pakistani drama serials, and what are the topics around which these drama serials revolve. Are the drama serials reinforcing patriarchal views? And the main thing that I'll be talking about is marital rape. So marital rape is a very sensitive and delicate topic, and it is also known as spousal rape, when a spouse when a spouse forces their partner into non-consensual sex. So according to Zina ordinance, rape was defined as forceful penetration of someone who the perpetrator was not legally married to. And I was studying about marital rape and laws against marital rape, but I couldn't find anything uh, and I'm not sure if there are laws in Pakistan which are against like marital rape. It is an extreme issue, and it is undermined by Pakistani laws as well as Pakistani dramas. So I'll be talking about three different drama serials: Bashar Momin, which came out in 2014, Parvarish, that came out in 2017, and Ranja Ranja Kardi, which came out in 2018 and ended in 2019. So when we talk about marital rape in Pakistani drama serials, um, marital rape is not considered as a crime in most of the drama serials. Like not in most, in all of the drama serials, it is not considered as a crime, and there are two important things that we notice when we talk about marital rape in Pakistani dramas. Number one, it is used as a punishment to the victims, right? So in Sadaf Ahmed's article, there is this whole paragraph and the whole page which says that rape is used as punishment. And similarly, in these Pakistani dramas, marital rape is used as a punishment towards the victim. And the second thing that we notice is that the perpetrator gets away with it, and he is not punished. And marital rape in the end of the drama is justified in different ways. Okay, so there's this other drama serial, Yariyan, that I'll be talking about. So four different drama serials: Ranja Ranja Kardi, Yariyan, Parvarish, and Bashar Momin. I'll be starting with Bashar Momin. So in Bashar Momin, there's this character called Bashar and his wife Rudaba. So Bashar's mother um, left her father, and due to infidelity, and she left him. And now the father tells Bashar that, oh please, matlab, don't get married to a woman who has other affairs, and because she'll leave you. And उसके दिमाग में वो बहुत ज़्यादा hatred पैदा कर देता है against women who have extramarital affairs, and his father eventually commits suicide. So Bashar marries a girl named Rudaba, and at the night of his wedding, he gets to know that she was previously engaged. Rudaba was previously engaged to this man, and she loved him. So now on the night of their wedding, Bashar thinks of different ways of punishing her, and realizes that marital rape is like the best punishment. And when he's about to do it, he tells Rudaba that mera hak ada karo, and then he rapes her. And what happens in the end of the drama? They both are living a happy and peaceful life. Right. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, that the perpetrator gets away with marital rape, and the drama justifies marital rape. The next drama is Parvarish, in which that the marital rape thing doesn't it doesn't occur with the main character. It occurs with the side characters, Nabil and Fawzia, I guess. I'm not sure about the name. So what happens is that they have some fights, and the wife Fawzia, she leaves the house and matlab, she lives with her parents, and she says that Nabil is impotent, and that is why she doesn't want to live with him. So Nabil, like that men have this fragile ego, and he realizes कि इसने तो मुझे मतलब इतनी बड़ी बात कह दी है कि I'm impotent. So he forces कि तुम वापस आओ मेरे घर, और he forces her, तो वो वापस चली जाती है. Then he forces her to rape. Then he forces himself on her, just to prove the point that he is not impotent. Okay, and he rapes her. And what happens in the end of the drama is the same ending as Bashar Momin. They both live happily ever after, and they have a child together. Okay, so the next drama is Ranja Ranja Karti. Ma'am, I want to show a scene from this drama. Can I?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So the third drama that I'll be talking about is Ranja Ranja Karti, the scene that I just showed. Okay, so this drama revolves around a girl named Noori, who belongs to a poor family. Okay, So now what happens is that this drama has matlab catered to many different problems that are being held against women. So number one is that she belongs to a very poor family and she hates उसके जो parents हैं they collect कचरा basically वो कचरा उठाते हैं and वो झोंपड़ी में रहते हैं and she doesn't want to live this life. She wants she hates the dirt around her and she wants to live a clean and a better life. So she's been sent to a bigger city जहाँ पे she works as a maid and where she meets a guy named Sahir and they both start having a relationship and what happens is that Sahir gets into jail and Noori works at a place जहाँ पे ना there's this husband and wife, an old couple basically. She works for them, and now Sahir gets into jail and she needs money to get him out of jail. So she asks her, or the lady she works for, कि मुझे पैसे दे दें, but she doesn't. She doesn't give her. So Noori decides to steal the money from her, and her husband basically is. Tries to sexually harass Noori and he's like कि अच्छा मैं तुम्हें पैसे दे दूंगा अगर तुम मेरे साथ टाइम मतलब मेरे साथ वक्त गुजारो, to which she gets really angry but she like just forgets about it and forgives and doesn't forgive him, but she just steals the money and give it to Sahir and Sahir then takes the money from her and runs away. So she gets into jail and she then she gets into jail and somehow she gets out of the jail and comes back to her old city where her father decides to sell her for some money to this old guy named Shoka, which is also a very like big issue. This revolves around I guess वनी वाला concept कि आप पैसे ले लेते हो and आप उसको बेच देते हो अपनी बेटी को. So what happens is कि जिस दिन उसका निकाह होता है शौका के साथ she runs away from her house and goes to this mentor lady she has जिसका नाम अम्मा जन्नत होता है. Now अम्मा जन्नत realizes that she has committed Noori has committed grave sins, like she stole money and now she ran away from her house. She tells her कि अब तुम्हारी मतलब तुम्हारी मैं शादी करवा दूंगी and she doesn't tell कि किसके साथ करवा रही है और कौन है वो बंदा. So she gets her married to this mentally unstable person, Bhola. Noori has no idea that Bhola is mentally unstable and he's unwell. She gets married to him and he's not well, right? So what happens is that one night Bhola is under heavy medications, right? And he rapes Noori. And the scene shows that even being matlab he's not well, he's unstable. He still has a lot of power over Noori, and he forces himself on her, and leaves her like. They don't show the scene obviously, but they show that after that Noori का दुपट्टा बिखरा हुआ है, उसके बाल बिखरे हुए हैं, वो बेड के साथ बैठी हुई है, and Bhola is sleeping. The next morning, the scene that I showed is from next morning where Noori talks to her mother-in-law about it, and her mother-in-law says that she tries to justify it because she tells that Bhola has now started to understand the relationship between him and Noori, and Noori should be okay with it because Bhola उसका मिजाजी खुदा है और वो कर सकता है ऐसे उसके साथ. और फिर उसके बाद because her mother is like she loves her son a lot and she wants him to be fine, तो she thinks कि अगर उसकी शादी हो जाएगी और उसके marital relationships होंगे उसकी बीवी के साथ तो he'll eventually be fine. उसको ये लगता है कि मतलब उसका ये superstition है कि वो ठीक हो जाएगा जब उसकी बीवी होगी, उसके बच्चे होंगे, वो normal हो जाएगा, जबकि कि इस तरह it's like impossible, इस तरह नहीं होता. So her mother has like immense love and he justifies again the marital rape thing कि वो तुम्हारा मिजाजी खुदा है और इसका मतलब तो ये है कि वो तुम्हारे और अपने ताल्लुकात को समझ मतलब अंडरस्टैंड कर रहा है. तो यस, एंड इस ड्रामे में भी एंड पे यही होता है कि they both Bhola eventually starts taking medications and therapy, and he gets well because of the therapy and the medications, right? Not because of his relationship with Noori. And they have a child together, and they live happily ever after. Yes. So should I explain the next drama as well, Yaria?
Yeah, I would say explain it, but give a shorter summary.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Yariyan also revolves around two sisters. जिस तरह मतलब like explain किया हुआ सदफ अहमद के novel में कि there is this good woman and bad woman. So Mumal Sheikh is her role revolves around the good woman wala part, and Aiza Khan is the bad woman here because she is dating and she has an affair with this guy named Munib. So what happens is that somehow their father is a strict person, right? So he finds Mumal and Munib together in the house alone. Jabke Aiza is the one dating Munib, but he finds out that Mumal is with him, and then he forces them to get married. Even though Mumal is already nikah-fied, she is already married to this other guy. I don't know his name, but she was married to her, but he asks her husband to divorce Mumal and then gets her married to Munib. Now Munib is not in love with Mumal. He loves Aiza, and he considers that it was Mumal's fault कि अब उसको Mumal से शादी करनी पड़ी और उसको forcefully, जबकि they were not like they were not having an intimate scene जो उनके father enter कर जाते हैं देख लेते हैं, लेकिन they were actually fighting, लेकिन उसने उसका collar ऐसे पकड़ा हुआ था कि लग रहा होता है कि they're having an intimate moment. तो उसके बाद फिर उन दोनों की शादी करवा देता है Mumal and मुनीब की, and he hates Mumal because उसको लगता है कि उसकी वजह से ये सारा हुआ. He wanted to get married to Aiza, but Aiza somehow disagrees कि वो जानती नहीं. She was so much afraid of her father, she just lies कि oh I don't know this person. Mumal is the one who's dating and having an extramarital affair with Munib. So what happens next is that one night Munib comes back home and he's drunk, and Mumal is sleeping on the bed and he rapes her because he's drunk. And the next morning, Mumal goes to her and she says कि हमारा निकाह तो एक ड्रामा था और तुम लोगों को दिखाने के लिए था, तुम्हारी माँ को दिखाने के लिए था, मेरे बाप को दिखाने के लिए था, तो तुमने मेरे साथ क्यों मेरी इज्जत पे हाथ डाला. तो because he was drunk, he didn't remember anything, and he was like कि मैं तुम्हें देखना भी पसंद नहीं, तुम्हें लगता है मैं तुम्हारी इज्जत पे हाथ डालूंगा. So this happens, and eventually, once again, the perpetrator gets away with the rape thing, and they both, at the end of the drama, they show that they both live a happily married life, and they also have a child. So yeah, that's the fourth drama. Okay, so the thesis statement that was that is the Pakistani media progressing or regressing over time? Now coming to the conclusion, yeah, ma'am, sorry.
Okay. Oh no, please continue. Yeah.
So I've seen that matlab like when I compared 2014 and 15, yeah, 2010 ke dramas, I feel like they were a little better in the context that they somehow showed that somehow there was a little element of women empowerment, and but now the dramas that are being on it, aajkal 2018 so onwards, I guess they're just showing that women are being oppressed, and they're shown that women are being brutally beaten by their husbands. So I feel like that Pakistani media is not progressing; it's regressing over time to some extent. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
And, yeah.
All right. Comments?
I would like to add that I've seen both of the shows, Ranja Ranja Kardi and Yariyan, and I feel like there was this important aspect in both of the shows, the pregnancy after the rape. So even in Ranja Ranja Kardi, the main lead, Ikra Aziz, gets pregnant, and over there, obviously, with that pregnancy, they make her into this. They're two different things. Like both the shows handle pregnancy in really different ways. Ikra Aziz takes the pregnancy in a way that she becomes all nice and a Nick character basically, and she starts loving Bhola and she wants to be with him because now she's going to be a mother. Obviously, again, like you said, eradicating the whole rape scenario from it, because well, now she's pregnant and now they're looking at it as consensual sex and not rape. And in Yaria as well, Yaria may Momal also gets pregnant, and her husband, that guy, says that it's not my child because I did not touch you, so how did you get pregnant? So the entire second half of the entire drama is Momol trying to explain herself that that is your child, and I am not. You did do that to me, and he won't believe her, and he blames her for. He says that Bob jo hai wo the her person that she was I think निकाह हुआ हुआ था उसका या मंगनी हुई थी पहले किसी और से. Yeah, he says that that's his child and not mine. So he never believes her until the very last, I think the second last episode, and then he beats her up too in the middle while she's pregnant and says, "Because you keep saying this is my child and this is not my child," and all that. And eventually, when he figures out that it is his child, she forgives him for all the torture and everything. So that's horrible. I feel like. एक तो like he's raped her, ऊपर से he has this authority over her where he's saying that that's not my child, and it's pathetic. Yeah, that show was very triggering.
Okay. All right. Very good. G, any other comment or reaction to what Ikra said or Zoha said? Okay. Zoha, can you please go to your first slide overview?
Yeah.
Uh, make it full screen and just go to the first one. Okay. Why do you want to analyze plays over a period of time? Like you were talking about how Pakistani media was performing earlier and how it's performing now. Why do you want to compare the performance of video over a period of time?
Because I think it shows progress. I feel like
Okay, you did not mention the dates of these four plays. Can you briefly mention what were the dates of the plays?
yeah, ma'am. So Bashir Momin was honored in 2014.
Okay.
Parvarish came out in 2017. Ranja Ranja Kardi and Yariyan came out in 2019.
Okay, so two are 2019 plays. So I was wondering why you need to talk about media when you can focus on your central theme, because you're focusing on marital rape. Right? So I thought you perhaps do not need all of these. You don't need to, because when you study marital rape in plays, it will be a very, very, very focused study. And it will do what you are trying to do by mentioning plays over a period of time. What Sadaf Ahmed had done, she had looked at plays, she had looked at rape in 36 different films from 1947 till I think perhaps
2011, I guess.
Yes, 2011. So she picked up 36 different films too, because her focus was very narrow. She was only looking at rape in those 36 films. So you are trying to look at more things. You are trying to look at marital rape, and you are also trying to look at drama or media, representation of marital rape. And you're saying that because if you only pick up these plays, you said the first one is from 2014, right? But you said Bashir Momin is from 2014. So
Yes,
2014,
yes.
at least it gives you 5 to 7 years from 2014 until 2020. It is because 2021 is about to start. We can say you are already covering 7 8 years. So you can say that I'm looking at treatment of marital rape in Pakistani plays from, for example, 2014 to 2019, because your sample includes 4 plays that were aired from 24 to 17. So I think that is good enough, and that would show that how marital rape has been presented, and how if there is a range of different treatment within the play. So that's why I felt that you do not need uh, all of this, but you can talk about these things within the discussion. You don't need to make questions around them. You can still talk about them without changing them into questions or thesis statements. Okay.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
that will be, because this is a bit general, and you can talk about it while writing about it, but you don't need thesis statements or questions about these. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Okay.
overall, I think it was a very nice presentation, very good presentation. It was very interesting to see that you were looking at marital rape in a few different places, and that makes that makes the study interesting. You said you were not sure if there were laws about marital rape. I think there are presently laws about marital rape, because we have a student in theater film and in MS film and TV program, and she was writing a proposal on marital rape study. So I would say that because during that she checked, and she found that presently there are laws, because I think since that honor killing incident of Sabah, the protagonist in A Girl in the River, laws
Yeah.
have laws have definitely changed. So this issue is probably also addressed. I think Batul Shahid probably mentioned the date of the new law. So if I find it, I will share section number and date with you. So if you are doing any further work on this one, you can mention that, and you can think about it, right? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So interesting was that all of these plays are showing rape as punishment, in one way or the other, and all of these 4 plays are actually showing women start living happily ever after with the rapists, because they have children with them. So, in other words, this is again connected back to enjoying rape, or accepting rape, or becoming part of it. Another thing
Yeah.
that I found interesting in the clip that you picked up of Noori. Noori was not making an eye contact with
I
the
contact.
mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yes, she did not make an eye contact with the mother-in-law, and I think we have discussed it before. The one uh, who who is in charge of gaze has the power, and Noori, because she's looking down, she has already lost this. Uh, Perhaps whatever you want to call it, she has lost her argument already, because she is not making an eye contact with the mother-in-law. And considering her poor circumstances, she not only accepts the rape, she forgives the rapist because he is her husband, and also because he is mentally disabled, and thirdly because her lover is a cheat, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when she learns that he is a cheat, so all these things, and secondly, financial and economic reasons become uh, the main idea behind this motive, that women should accept, because in Pakistan all we find is a group of dependent women. So Noori is a dependent woman, and I think all these female protagonists in other plays would probably be dependent women. So I think that perhaps I'm assuming that the women in other plays were also somebody who were not independent, or if they were educated, perhaps they were not financially powerful enough or independent enough, otherwise, behavior wise or socially. So they actually compromised with the situation that they were facing, right? So you can think about these things as well. I think it was a very nice presentation, and theme within these plays were very well connected. So my suggestion is only this, that the questions that you have at the start, you can get rid of all the questions except the marital rape question. You can think about it that you have only one question: how all these plays are presenting the marital rape, or how marital rape trend is changing within the plays over a period of time. And the rest of the things you can generally mention because they are general questions, right? If you were writing a much bigger study on treatment of marital rape over a period of time, you could think about writing either an article or a thesis on this one. Okay, thank you so much. And I am not sure how many people are left, but we do not have sufficient time to have one more presentation. We can perhaps try, but it means that
Ma'am,
some. Ji, Taryn.
sorry, can I go on? Because my presentation is not gonna be that long.
Let me ask everyone, is everyone comfortable that Taryn presents now?
Miss, it's okay. She can present 10 minutes. So
Ji, Taryn.
Yes, ma'am, I'm gonna share. So my topic is representation, stereotypes, and issues of honor in a Pakistani film. I've chosen two films, so I'm just gonna be really quick about it. My main idea was to show that how generally like we think that in Pakistan our image in films like representation of women in Pakistani films have changed, but somehow there are a lot of stereotypes that just keep lurking in. And since this one stereotype is that women must compromise no matter what happens with her, like no matter what the guy does, no matter they're married or whatever the guy does, he just gets a free card. And you know how this representation is really wrong and it's still there in our films. They try to cover it up with all the progressiveness, like they show songs, they show clothes that women not used to wear before, but now they do wear. So they, they just show that, how it's a progressive film. So I'm going to talk about Varna, this movie by Shoaib Mansoor. It was released in 2017, and the fact that the whole film was revolved around how Myra Khan's character gave her away to the goons when they came and they tried to take her husband's sister. But since her sister was unmarried, she thought that it would be better for her to go since she's already married, and her husband would understand and would support her in the fact that she didn't let her husband's sister go with them. So now, like when she comes back, um, she is being shut up about it. Like she keeps asking, "अगर police report कराइए कि नहीं?" And she keeps on asking her father-in-law, her husband, but they say that घर की बात घर में ही रहने दो और सारा मामला खुदा पर छोड़ दो बेटी. Don't talk to the police yet. It's gonna get ugly. And this just shows the how, like, whatever happens with a woman, she literally tried to save another woman's reputation because she knew that if she went, she's probably not going to even get married, because that's how people look at women who were raped, right? So the entire dynamic, that scene where they're telling her to not go to the police, she's lying down on her sister-in-law's lap while her family is around her and giving her these unnecessary things that it doesn't matter to her. She has been raped and she's in pain. She wants revenge for whatever happened. And the whole thing, that where it started, it was nothing. It was no one had any like the goons just came out of nowhere and just saw the girls and they're like, we're just gonna take one of them. So basically the camera angle really shows, like there was this camera angle where she's lying down, you can actually see the pain on her face, and that she really, it's really, it shows how scared and how she is in. And the film just takes like a distinctive turn where the significant other just tries to tell her that it hurt him that she went, and she should have let her sister-in-law go with them, because वो उसकी दर्द नहीं समझ सकता, and he is trying to act like a victim that you went and you don't know what I feel, that you have been touched by other men and you have been raped. And then he blames her that, oh, so you did go, but there is not even a single bruise or a single mark on your face or on your neck or anywhere, so I think that you had a pretty good time. And this heated conversation just ends at him slapping her just because she went and didn't let her sister-in-law go. So there's this whole song where she is in pain, and she's trying to she's literally trying to look around for her husband, but her husband is in an own dynamic, and he is just he's he's pretending to be the victim of this whole thing, and he blames his wife at the end. And since the movie after the climax, it does get progressive in a sense that she took her revenge, she killed her rapist, but then at the same time, it also showed that the law cannot do anything about this. You, the, the message was basically that you have to take the matters in your own hands. But the first half of the movie really showed how, like, it was a progressive movie, and even Shoaib Mansoor, like, I've seen his movies, and he makes impactful movies. But then the first half really showed the ugly part of the society and how, like, the woman is still being blamed because she just tried to save an unmarried girl. So uh, I'm gonna talk about another movie called Punjab Nahi Jaungi, and it's a movie by Nadeem Beg, and he usually makes his genre is mostly romantic. It's a rom-com most of the time. Um, So this movie showed that Mehwish Hayat, in this, her character Amal, she's really educated and she has a boyfriend, she's very progressive. And on the other hand, her cousin, who is a Vadera, and he's uneducated, and it shows that he gets a degree, like a fake degree, and everyone's celebrating that. And he's like the only Vadera who got educated, and the guy was hyped up a lot. um they asked for her rishta, and she says that, no, you know what, I don't want to marry Fawad. But then he brings in things like कि, ओ मैं तो तुम्हारे नाम 70 मुरब्बे कर सकता हूँ और 1200 भैंसे तुम्हारे नाम कर सकता हूँ. And he challenges her boyfriend. So even if she said no, no means no, but he is after her. He is talking to her dadi. He is making everyone make them understand that, I need to marry Amal. And when she finally says yes, when they finally get married, he shows off to his friends that, oh, you know what, I lied about everything that I would give. I would never name anything on like I'll never name anything, my all my murabbas and everything. I just lied to get to her to get married to me. And when she confronts him, he emotionally blackmails her by jumping off the roof. And that way, obviously, she's blackmailed, she cannot leave him anymore. So this whole dynamic where everything's okay, he lied about everything, and he just fell off the roof, and they just made this educated progressive woman into a person who would be okay with all of this. And then as the movie progresses, they showed that, she starts working on their farm, and they gave her the authority that, you know what, you can work, that's fine. But on the same page where she's working, her husband feels neglected. Her husband feels like he's not that big shot that he was before marriage, and then he cheats on her. So there are a lot of events happening in the film that the guy does. I mean, anything that the woman does, they try to show that if you work, your husband's gonna do this. If you do this, your husband's gonna do this. So whatever he did, it showed that it all happened because of Amal's mistakes and Amal's progressiveness and why she was working. She should have stayed home, things like these. So at the end, she forgives him for everything that he's done. He's cheated on her. He lied about everything that he would be giving to her. He lied about a lot of things in the middle. And yet, at the end, a progressive, educated woman just is okay with it. And she's like, okay, you know what? I'll just forgive you. And they live happily ever after. So, the whole point of these two movies that I chose is because they really try to show that the women in our society, they're getting progressive, they're working, they're taking revenges of their rapists. But when you really think about it, why would anyone would want, they would want the law to take that revenge, right? They would want the law to hang the rapist. But since women are so helpless here, they have to do everything on their own. And that's where the law is wrong. Everything that happened in Varna was really wrong, even though they try to make the woman like a hero. But still most of the people in our mainstream, how our audience watches this mainstream media, they thought that okay, so she killed the rapist, she's the villain, even though she's not the villain, she's actually the hero. She took her stand. But anyways, I was going to show a scene from Varna, but I think that's not needed. I really explained it well, how her husband treats her after she comes back from the place where she has been raped. So, yes, that's about it, ma'am.
All right. G, any comment? Any comment from anyone? Okay, Tehrin, thank you. Presentation was nice. I think आपने analysis अच्छा किया. आपका सिर्फ ये है कि जो theoretical connection है, that would need building up. I think वो कहीं ना कहीं impression आ रहा था, but I wanted to hear names of the persons जिनका आपने कहीं ना कहीं literature देखा होगा on any of the things. So there was rape in both the films, was it?
Sorry, ma'am.
Was there rape in both the films?
Ma'am, in Varna, there was rape. Obviously, they didn't show rape, but there was rape. But Punjab Nahi Jaungi, mein, I chose that film because since we were talking about, stereotypes and representation of women, so I thought that movie seemed all right, like to talk about how they
Um,
showed both of the sides. But then again, at the end of the day, like this is how women are being showed. So I thought that
Okay,
maybe this
so
movie
you
was
are
good.
saying there were different representations of modern women. Rape was not the third central theme, but they were representations of modern women and how
Yes,
modern women are domesticated. End of the day.
yes.
Right, okay. All right, okay. I think at least the analysis part of where you were talking about what the films are doing, that was nicely done. Just improve the theoretical connection and try uh, making it sure that you find some central theme which is common in both. Even if you're talking about different treatments of modern women and raped women and unraped women. Okay, so I think the analysis part was nice. Okay, thank you everyone. I'm sorry I can't comment very long for this one because time is over, and I think some of you may have a second class after this, and we are already too late. So I'm not sure if anyone is having a second class. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.